The 83-inch Sony A90J is huge and amazing, but can I legitimately recommend it for most people? Let's find out. What's up, this is B the Installer, and it's been a minute since I've sat down and reviewed a TV. So now I have the 83 and 65-inch Sony A90J, and I wanted to review the A90J with the larger size in mind. What are the differences it has from the smaller versions? How good does this TV look with various content? And really help you decide if the Sony Master Series OLED is worth it, or if I'd recommend another option like the Sony A80J, the LG G1, or a top LCD TV. Before we get into it, smash the like button if you don't mind helping the channel grow. And subscribe and ring the notification bell if you aren't already subbed so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. So I did a big unboxing video with this 83-inch A90J with the help of my wonderful wife Jen. I'm not sure if it's super popular because of the TV or her, but either way, check it out. And we installed it on the wall with two other OLEDs above it, and I even did a settings video. So check all those videos in the description. But in those videos, I didn't discuss the differences of the TV and smaller versions, other TVs, or give buying advice. And before I get into the differences, I wanted to really quickly talk about the main 4 advantages that I see in the Sony A90J over other TVs, both OLED and LCD. First, this TV has a heat sink, so it keeps the panel cooler so Sony can push the A90J harder than the competition. It's the only OLED in 2021 to offer the heatsink, and with a fear of burn-in, I think it can give owners that peace of mind. Then the A90J, like most of the top Sony TVs, has a new XR processor. This processor does a lot, including coordinate with the heatsink in order to maximize brightness when possible, showing up big specifically in smaller highlights. It also allows the automatic brightness limiter to do less, which means better full screen brightness over the A80J that doesn't have the heatsink. Then outside the panel, or behind it really, the speakers on the A90J are really good for a TV. The speakers vibrate the panel, sending high quality sound to the audience, whether the TV is on a stand or wall mounted. Only the 2 subs are behind the TV, so the audio is crisp and directed toward you, versus most of the TVs that have sound shooting at the back or at the bottom of the TV, causing distortion. The A80J also has this sort of speaker setup, but it's less powerful and only has a single sub. The A90J also has a center speaker input on it. This allows the entire TV to act as a center channel of your home theater, which would be really helpful for many people because placing a center channel in a living room or over a mantle is not always easy, especially with an 83-inch TV. So you can push a significant amount of power to the TV and it sounds better than most people expect. And the last similarity between the 83-inch A90J and the smaller versions is the backlit remote. A big win for Sony, it is clearly a bonus in a dark room to be able to locate buttons quickly without needing to turn on a light when watching TV. However, this remote can be bought separately for other Sony TVs if you have the A80J or an LED. On the other side, there are only a couple of differences between the 2 smaller sizes and this massive 83-inch OLED, besides it just being really big. The first difference that I noticed was that the 65 and 55-inch Sony A90J both have unprotected glass edges, while the 83-inch has a metal edge around it like most Sony OLEDs of the past. And I like the look of the glass edge on the smaller units, but I feel a little more comfortable with the metal edge. It's not like the glass edge has a huge aesthetic benefit, but on the other hand, the metal edge of the 83-inch didn't save this unit we got from a dangerous forklift driver in transit. That was a bummer. One of the 2 big A90Js survived and the other was quickly taken care of, and we have a replacement en route with an 83-inch LG C1. So stay tuned for the 83-inch OLED comparisons. It's a good time to like and subscribe. The other difference is the stand positioning. So at the 65-inch and 55-inch, you can only have the feet at the edges of the TV, both in a low profile or raised up for a soundbar. So 2 options. But with the 83-inch, you can have the feet in a narrow mid-height profile at only 27 inches wide, or you can put them on the ends of the TV nearly 74 inches wide, and then you can have them lower or raised up on the ends. It's definitely that they have some good options because not everyone has a sweet 8-foot Rubbermaid party table to put their $8,000 Master Series TV on, right? So because most people need to know why you should buy the 83-inch Sony A90J or not, I'm going to quickly discuss the different kinds of content you may be watching and how the A90J fares in each category. So for what most of us watch on the day-to-day, like cable TV, sports, and a variety streaming channels and most of YouTube, we can look to the A90J's SDR picture. In custom mode and tweaking a few settings, the A90J looks nearly identical to the Sony A80J below, and the LG OLEDs are actually a touch brighter in their ISF bright mode. But that really doesn't give you the full story. First, the level of detail on the Sony A90J is stunning in two ways. First, the upscaling with the XR processor is probably the best I've ever seen on a TV. I found myself checking the menu to see if the movie I'm watching was in HDR or Dolby Vision, and then to realize I'm just upscaling HBO and SDR. It's that good. Even many older movies look amazing. Then you can talk about shadow detail or just detail in all areas. So it's one thing to upscale cable TV well, but this nearly perfect gradient control is really remarkable when talking about the A90J. Whether it's coming out of black or near white, shadow detail is considerably better than the LG counterparts. I was also impressed with the Sony A80J in this regard, sharing the same processor and similar panel, but I'll give you that buying advice toward the end of the video. Lastly, I wanted to comment about sports on the A90J. And I watch all sorts of sports, and while this TV looks incredible with pretty much any content, I did have to knock off the motion flow smoothness that I prefer for movies because it created so many artifacts for sports. Normally, Sony does a great job with upscaling and motion and color on pretty much everything. But sports, especially when there are multiple players moving fast like soccer or hockey, you'll need to turn off some of that motion control or you'll get some of the players looking pretty scrambled. And this happens on all TVs, especially when upscaling or moving fast, but I just wanted to be clear that no TV is perfect. Overall, I would say this. The Sony A90J has an incredible picture for watching cable TV and YouTube and sports, but it can take a bit of work to get all the settings figured out. And to be honest, this doesn't make you want to buy the most expensive OLED under $10,000. But why I have two Sony A90J TVs is the amazing HDR and Dolby Vision picture. And as I was just saying, I think most people can get away with a less expensive TV to watch news or sports center. But when you think about getting that one nice TV in a theater room or in your main living room where guests come over to watch the new Disney movie or a 4K Blu-ray, the Sony A90J has to be on the short list. And because of what our family watches, OLEDs are typically choice 1, 2, and 3. And this is the first OLED that has 1000 nit specular highlights, and again, the XR processor and the heatsink. So you have scenes that are so amazing with extremely bright highlights, and it feels like you're looking through a window versus watching a TV. I think the best way that I can state how good the HDR picture is by saying it takes normal OLEDs and just turbocharges the brightness and gets as close to LCD brightness as an OLED has ever gotten while all keeping perfect contrast. So LCD TVs can keep their dimming zones and blooming and dirty screen, and I'll take an OLED all day long. And in addition to the wonderful HDR, this TV can simulate 5.1.2 Dolby Atmos sound by sending sound out from the screen in all directions and really immerse you in fantastic movie experience. And as I said before, that works on the stand or wall mounted. So yes, this TV is a home theater all by itself. And just to further the point, there is nothing I like more than to pop on a movie in Dolby Vision where I can use Dolby Vision Bright Mode and really take advantage of all the positives of the A90J. The brightness, the color, and motion are all just amazing. And in my settings video, I go over the changes you can make in order to get even better picture quality. But it's clear to me that this is the best OLED and far better than any LCD I've reviewed. And lastly, a quick rundown on the Sony A90J gaming. As I've stated in a couple of videos, HDR gaming on the Sony A90J looks fantastic. Most gamers prefer the picture quality of the Sony OLED, but their hang up on these TVs is that Sony doesn't have working VRR or variable refresh rate on any HDMI 2.1 enabled TVs. In 2020, only one TV had HDMI 2.1, and to this day, it doesn't have working VRR. And this year, all the best Sony TVs have HDMI 2.1, so they can display gaming at 4K at 120 frames per second. And I'm good with that. I'm good with 4K 60, so 4K at 120 is just fine and gaming looks amazing. And the PS5 doesn't even support VRR at the moment. But the fact that many other companies have working VRR is a big deal for gamers, especially those playing fast-paced games or coming from PC gaming. And it's just lazy that Sony outsources major technology and then is stuck with the results of other companies' failures, which turn into Sony failures. So if you're a big-time gamer, you probably already know about the VRR issue, so you can make that decision on your own if you need to get a different TV because the A90J lacks VRR. So now to the hard part, which is legitimately evaluating the Sony A90J with regards to pricing and how I would recommend it to my clients on the regular. There are a couple things that I've consistently offered as forks in the roads for TV buyers. First, you either have some control or no control of ambient light in your room. If you have any control, I'd stick to OLED. If you have no control and floor-to-ceiling windows, then an LCD-based TV would be a better choice, with something like the Samsung QN90A or the 8K QN900A that have better anti-reflective coating and more brightness, which minimizes the ambient light. But they come with the downsides like blooming, lack of individual pixel control, and some can have uniformity issues that make the screen look dirty. If you can control the light to some degree, whether it be shades or blackout curtains, or if you just watch TV at night, OLEDs have a huge advantage. And if you game, then many would say LG OLEDs have even more of an advantage. So that might be another fork in your decision-making road. The fact that the LG C1 and G1 both have working VRR, G-Sync, and FreeSync, as well as connectivity where LG has traditionally shined, it's not hard to recommend either the LG G1 for 77-inch if you want the brightest gaming OLED, or the always popular LG C-Series, including the new 83-inch LG C1, where you may lose a little on brightness and processing, but get all the gaming features and it's a fraction of the price. And when comparing the two 83-inch TVs, there are some differences between the A90J and the LG C1, which is $2,000 less, like the A90J heatsink that the C1 doesn't have, and the audio, where the LG C1 sounds pretty good on the stand, but not as good when wall mounted with their downward firing speakers. And then of course you're talking about the top Master Series calibrated OLED from Sony versus the more mainstream LG C1. So do those features on the Sony justify an additional $2,000? I'm pretty sure the 83-inch LG C1 would be a great choice for many gamers, and many would be excited to save $2,000 while getting a better gaming TV from a technical standpoint. If you're trying to pick from the top two OLEDs in 2021, the A90J and the LG G1 Gallery Series OLED, you have a variety of differences to consider. First, the LG G1 is a better gaming TV. It's meant to be on the wall, it doesn't come with feet. And the mounting bracket's a little disappointing and the TV wobbles when pulled out, but it can be put on a universal bracket or you can just buy the feet. And if you really want that top gaming TV, then the LG G1 may be the way to go, and it's far less expensive at the 77-inch, around half the price of the 83-inch A90J. So that has to be a big factor for those who want to get great gaming or the flush look. But still, I would have to say that the speakers, the heatsink, larger size, and brighter HDR make me prefer the A90J. And the final fork in the road to the A90J is the Sony A80J OLED, which is not a Master Series OLED, but it has most of the same features and was as accurate out of the box as the A90J. It does lack the heatsink, so it can't stay bright as long as the A90J, and Sony doesn't push it quite as hard. But it does have the same processor, and it looks amazing, almost indistinguishable from the A90J. So for almost all the remaining people, I would say that the Sony A80J would be a perfectly fine OLED, especially since you can buy the 77-inch A80J for less than half of the Sony A90J in the 83-inch size. So who's left? I mean, who should buy the A90J? I've basically eliminated everybody except those who want the top TV under $20,000, but know that it costs more than it really is worth. Those people who know it's expensive and just don't care. I mean, this is the one time you're gonna buy a TV this decade, and this is the one. But it's not all markup. The 83-inch size is more expensive to make, and both Sony and LG have high costs on their 83-inch panel. But if you're gonna pay 2 times the price for the Sony A90J over any 4K OLED or LCD, I think it's fair to say that it's likely not legitimately worth the cost. It's 10 or 20% better with a 2x price. But all that being said, I have the 83-inch Sony A90J here, and there's no chance I'm gonna take it back. It's the best, and it's on the wall, and that's that. But if I had to trade it in for something else, I would 100% get the 77-inch Sony A80J because it's so close in quality and size, and I would be able to pocket $4,500 or maybe buy 2 A80Js. I really think you couldn't lose either way in that case. So I love this TV. In my opinion, it's the top TV in 2021. But what do you think? Do you think the price of the Sony A90J is too ridiculous, or is it a TV that you consider? And what is the best value of 2021? I hope this information helps you out. Smash the like button if it has. Make sure to subscribe and set the notification bell to all so you're notified when I upload the next video. And just like that, you can be the installer.